Hello YouTubers, my name is LethalGhost, and today we're going to be taking a look at Fighter Squadron. Now this match that we're going to be watching first, this is my first ever match of Fighter Squadron since Battlefront came out. And if you look up at the scoreboard, you'll see at the time that I started playing this, the match was already underway. So about Fighter Squadron, what is it? Well, if you ever played Battlefield 4, it is like air superiority. In air superiority, you had 3 blimps, across the map, and you're in jets or helicopters, and you had to capture those zones, and that's how you won the game. Well, in Fighter Squadron, it is kind of like team deathmatch, where the goal is just to take down as many of the enemy aircraft as you can, and of course people respawn instantly, but you do get points every time that you kill someone. But at certain points throughout the map and throughout the match, you are going to have a transport ship, either your friendly transport ship or an enemy transport ship, and of course if it's your transport ship, you want to protect it and stop the enemy from being able to do any damage to it or destroy it. And whenever it's their transport ship, clearly you want to destroy it as quick as possible. And the game mode is 10v10, but there are bots flying around that help to flesh it out a little bit more, and the AI for these pilots is kind of spotty. Sometimes they're fairly decent, but other times they're really easy to take out. And now right there in front of me, you would have seen the Slave 1, which is Boba Fett's ship. In the Fighter Squadron game mode, there are 2 hero ships available, and that's the Slave 1 piloted by Boba Fett and the Millennium Falcon piloted by Han Solo. I must admit it is fairly disappointing that they only have 2 hero ships, just the Slave 1 and the Millennium Falcon. They could have added more really easily, I think, because 2 things that you did see in the original trilogy. You saw Luke Skywalker in his X-Wing, and you saw Darth Vader in his TIE Interceptor. So there's 2 more hero ships there that you could have. And if you guys have any more ideas for any other hero ships that could be added, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Yeah, so here's the second match that I ever played of Fighter Squadron. And you would have seen there in the very beginning, I was shooting at an X-Wing. And I'm in an A-Wing. I'm on the Rebel team, and I was shooting at another Rebel. The reason for that is because when you're playing Fighter Squadron, every other match, you switch teams every match, right? So I was just on the Imperials, so now this match I'm going to be on the Rebel team, and it can be slightly confusing sometimes at first, or just whenever you're having a derp moment. Alright, anyway, so whenever you're playing Fighter Squadron, you get to pick which aircraft you want to be in. Of course, you don't get to pick the hero ship. I'll go into more detail about that later. But whenever you first start, you get to pick, if you're on the Rebels, you get to pick the X-Wing or the A-Wing. If you're on the Imperial side, you get to pick the regular TIE Fighter or the TIE Interceptor. And as far as I'm aware, there's no limit on how many people can be in what. I mean, there might be, but I haven't seen any information stating that that would be the case. And that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because the A-Wing and the TIE Interceptor are better than the X-Wing and the regular TIE Fighter. So who is really going to choose to be in a TIE Fighter or an X-Wing over the better ships? I don't know if that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And one thing that I was concerned about during the beta was how are these ships going to work? With your proton torpedoes and your concussion missiles, what have you, are you going to have to unlock that stuff? Like you'll see at the bottom right hand corner of the screen, I have the shield ability and the concussion missile for the A-Wing. You don't have to unlock that at all. You don't have to get any points. You don't have to unlock it. You don't have to spend credits. You don't have to do any of that. And I just really don't understand why. You know, I mean, I guess, you know, EA and DICE did want this game overall to be more accessible, and here's the Slave 1 again. But I don't know why you wouldn't have to unlock this stuff, and why you could just go right to the A-Wing and the TIE Interceptor instead of having to grind this stuff out. And of course, another thing from the beta that I did not like, that I knew that they were not going to change, were just the flight mechanics overall. The flight mechanics are too easy mode. You know, there's not really a whole lot of challenge in doing this and flying around. And also, you cannot look around your aircraft whenever you're flying. There's no way to look left, right, whatever, other than to fly that direction. I really don't like that at all, and it would not be hard to implement that feature. But again, I'm not going to hold my breath. I know that they're not going to do it. And another thing from the beta that I was concerned about, and you'll see throughout this video, the missiles that you fire from every vehicle. It's not just one, but the missiles you fire from every vehicle, they are so hit and miss. I mean, you'll be locked on and you'll have that red ring like I have around the Slave 1 right now, and you'll fire one of your missiles, and it doesn't necessarily go there.
It's able to.
Even if someone is flying straight, not doing any maneuvers, what have you, sometimes the missile that you shoot will just go off in some random direction and won't even go near the vehicle that you're targeting. And then other times, you won't really even be targeting a vehicle. They'll do an evasive maneuver. They'll be flying around like crazy, doing everything to evade you, and doing a good job at it. But your missile will still seek them out and still find them. You know, I wasn't necessarily expecting that to be fixed in the month from the beta to full release. But as far as I'm aware, DICE hasn't said anything. Like, they have not addressed this issue at all. It's something that really needs to be fixed, and I almost wouldn't mind if they made the cooldown, the time that you can use another missile again, I wouldn't mind if they made that longer. You know, I don't want too much missile spam in this game mode as I spam my missile right there, because this is the only mode that you can get away from grenade spam. If you've played Supremacy, Walker Assault, Drop Zone, basically any game mode at this point in Battlefront, there is ridiculous grenade spam.
I don't know, man.
And it's only going to get worse when people unlock the impact grenade and the homing missile and all that. Anyway, that's going to be another video, but right here, this is the transport vehicle that you're seeing. Clearly, this is the Imperial shuttle. I'm a rebel, so that's the enemy, so I want to take that out. And do not do what I am doing right here unless you're playing against an entirely incompetent enemy team, because I've seen people do this where the entire team will get behind the shuttle and just start shooting at it, and you're sitting ducks and easy pickings for the enemy team. Fortunately for me, nobody picked me off, and it wasn't until quite a bit later that someone tried to. Alright. Anyway, back to the hero pickups. The hero pickups are very small, just like in a regular game mode. They're very small, they're on the ground, you just have to fly your ship through it, and then you spawn into either the Millennium Falcon if you're on the Rebel side, or the Slave 1 if you're on the Imperial side. A few matches after this, I found the pickup to get into the Slave 1, but I got it like 5 seconds before the match was over. And just there, you would have seen the concussion missiles come out, go after the TIE Interceptor that I was locked onto, and then make a complete 180 and go God knows where. Anyway, what are my impressions of Fighter Squadron? It's okay. It's better to me than air superiority in Battlefield 4, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments. Till next time, guys, fly smart, check your 6, and stay lethal.